Hello there folks, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, a place where I discuss different topics about spirituality, game interpretation, and, well, introspection usually. The point is, this one will be an unexpected 5th episode on the game that I've made previous videos on, Tales of Aetherial. And I received a hint that there's basically more to the game than I initially thought, and well, I so decided why not hop in. Now the point is, I had to actually restart a bit of the game because the save game was somewhat previous to that. I didn't save the game where I was back when I finished the 4th one. So here we are before the cave, at the entrance of the cave, with the intro, and you know, the moment when Aruna slaps the character, and realistically the character turns towards the event to see, but the character ain't necessarily speaking to the protagonist, she's speaking to Aruna, so a step down would theoretically be I would say would be somewhat logical. Then she steps up and towards the character, you know, you see, in this case. But well, she kind of moves down, so yeah, I think leaving the characters here is not bad, in the sense that when you arrange your events, and you know, I did get the point that it is a demo, so yes, a lot of these things most likely will be improved or well changed. You know, improvement is always something that you know, is highly subjective, so you know, some people may not agree to any of the changes taken. But I had a sense that this is kind of a demo, because even the events, the cutscenes, and you know, the dialogue seem a bit I can't say simple, but the action feels as if you're moving way too fast. You know, like if you've ever played Final Fantasy X, you have 3 options, and you know, you can select from any one of those. Okay, no enemy encounters, standard encounters, I think, and then you have 2x chances. Okay, oh wait, you also have 4x chances, 4 times the chances to encounter enemies. Okay, now you can simply choose to not encounter enemies at all, and it's kind of, you're going through the game way too fast, or you can go hardcore and say at least 2 times, because you will need the farm and the experience. Okay, it's the same thing with how I instinctively went through Throne of Darkness, a game in which you can simply follow the direct path, but for some reason I would go literally through all the side paths and do, like, literally wipe out everything and gain literally all bits of items, components, and gold, armors, you know, weapons that I could find. And I actually did well, because there's a sudden moment in the game when you meet more difficult enemies. So if you don't go through the side parts, well, that's probably gonna be a bit challenging, because you have to go back, else you'll kind of get wrecked constantly. Okay, let's see. So the character is moving here. When you want to quickly skip through things, you just keep space pressed or enter. So okay, they're sobbing a bit about the story on the plaque, and I understood there's basically more to the happening. So let's see, we basically have a cave in here, but okay, now I really liked this part with the shaking screen, and for some reason, I don't know how they did it, but it seemed to shake up down also. Usually shake screen as a standard function is left right. Okay, okay. So it said that you can actually mine, and as I've done the previous time, you can actually mine these. Alright. Now in some games, usually you pull out the boss by simply killing some of the creatures around. Okay, now let's actually take this a bit more serious. So this water, no, we cannot step on it. Okay, poison guard. Now let's actually see what this poison guard is. Wait, it's not an item? Antidotes, materials, weapon, shields, head, body, accessories. Nope. What is a poison guard? I'm not gonna most likely invest too much time now. Okay, these mounds are definitely not events, so they're not interactable. Now, what I remember is that I didn't take the cave into account to... Wait, what? Oh wait, there was this piece here that you could actually go through. Oh, there's another exit in here. Oh, okay, this kind of reminds me of Pathfinder. The moment you enter a random cave and you find this huge Medusa, and you kind of get wrecked. Now the question is, judging by the fact how the screen shook, this serpent is definitely a picture, I can say. Alright, so guessing I'm not gonna be engaged by that. Okay, extra S letters for the for the snake. Till the day I die. Till the end. I would say till the end would sound much better to a certain extent, because till the day I die, you don't want to make the Guardian way too conscious, okay? Because if they were more conscious of things and, surroundings and the such, most likely they wouldn't be just foolishly guarding one thing, okay? You would probably just, I will guard this place till the end, okay? Till the end of my days, maybe. Sounds a bit more poetical. You can either let us pass today or today will... Wait. You can either let us pass or today will be that day. Don't think it's a good idea to threaten him like that. Great Serpent, now leave this chamber. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, sign. Okay. So let me guess, I don't have too many items, and hopefully I don't have to go through literally all the saves. Okay, turning the volume down wouldn't help because Plantronics, these headphones that I have, they have their own sound. So, okay, let's get wrecked then. Let's see, do we have items? Okay, so we have a revival. Now hopefully this thing doesn't have these potions, MP potions, antidotes. Okay. What was Ether? Okay, powerful attack on an enemy. Okay, the HP bars are actually nice. I think a plugin that would actually allow the enemy to see the numbers instead would probably be better. Again, that's just a visual choice. Okay, now casting spells on an enemy is always amusing because there is a lot of choice. Well, basically I won't be healing anyone. Fire. Okay, now I don't know if this game uses any logics like games that I've tested before. So desert creatures, if there is a common logic, desert creatures usually are very resistant to fire, and reptiles also, and also they're resilient to earth. For some strange, awkward reasons, they seem to be resilient to thunder. Let's try some ice. It would make sense to hit a snake with ice. Wait, I'm not understanding something. What are these pink stuff? Because the HP seems to not have been affected by... Oh wait, wasn't this that resource that once it's full you can actually use something? Man, I ain't used the... Okay, let me think a bit. Let's actually use this. See if it actually works. Oh. Okay. I think I've got enough items though. Usually the way I play games is like I'm the, you know, the Guild Wars 2 engineer, the one who has like literally everything. So let's think through this carefully. But first of all, I need some water to hydrate my brain a bit. I've been through a night shift and I forgot to take water with me, and drinking tap water ain't a habit, so I have to drink a bit of water. Now, one thing I would say about the game, when you create music, background music, try to have it very low, okay? Like usually when I use BGMs, I have them put at around 10%, 15%. Usually I test them again and again and see how they would perform. And again, I forget that this is MC, but basically the documentation is almost the same. I think I've met 3 scripts in a video that I made. 3 scripts weren't functioning as usual. Okay, so let's see. Do we attack them simply, or do we perform a powerful so-called attack? Let's see how powerful it would be. Ouch! That was... okay, that was a bit... okay, let's see, magic. Okay, we'll skip the healing part because we have resurrection potions. 88 damage, okay. That one time when your attack still more damage than magic. Okay, so let's see. Do we have guard? Ether? What was Ether? No, we don't have enough TP. Okay, so I don't like it when my champions are, you know, slowly being pulled down, but to a certain extent it's good. So let's see. I really like how the... wait, 114, previously it was 218. Is there any of those, you know, crit chances and, you know, those mathematical calculations with the addition? Like chances to deal more damage or less damage? There was a mathematical formula for that. I only mingled with the battle system at the beginning, like 1.5 years ago, and then I barely touched it again. Okay, so let's see. Now, what I like about the character, it actually looks real nice. I mean, it's full of details. There is a plugin, I kind of forgot the name of it, and it makes your characters, okay, the enemies, it makes them giggle a bit, okay, it extends a bit the picture and it makes it smaller a bit, as if, you know, as if they're performing this action, okay. Alright, let's try something else. Wait, raise? I have revival. Oh, okay. Okay, let's see. Magic charge greatly increases the user's magic attack for 5 turns. Does it even stack? I don't even know. Okay. Considering it's a boss, I don't think I'd even have to try to sleep it. I don't need an AoE. Do these actually deal the same damage? I think it would be the best if we actually write the damage you deal. You know, the values, instead of just the fact that it deals damage, you know, and fire type damage, because it's called Flame 1, it's kind of logical it will deal fire damage, okay? Unless you're gonna troll the character, the player. Let's try fire and see, do we actually deal more damage? Okay, so it's 97. Okay, that's under 1. Alright, I'm actually gonna use a potion because I don't mind him gaining a bit more TP. Interfere. I don't want to use the healer's mana already. Wait, Mary? Wasn't Aruna supposed to be? Okay. I really like the animations of the MZ engine. Can we actually use thunder? Hey, let's see what happens. Ah, it dealt some damage. Apparently it dealt more damage than fire. Alright. So we have an attack boost, but at the same time we seem to have this green goo. And the fact that she's sitting definitely shows she's disabled for this turn. So let's see. Let's actually expand Murk for now. Wait, don't we have... I think we only had one of those. Okay, time to go berserk. Well, wasn't as berserk as expected, but let's see. Heather, we don't have TP. Now we don't have any need to guard. Wait. Any other options? Escape seems to be grayed out. Okay. Oh wait. So it doesn't seem to be dealing more than 187 maximum damage, I guess. Okay. Thunder damage, ice damage. Up till now I saw that Thunder dealt some more damage apparently. Let's try Fire again. Not... Oh, 111, speaking about angel numbers. Okay. I want the big damages. Let's see. Oh, she's gaining TP so low. It's interesting if you could have a condition that actually halves or reduces the amount of TP a certain character gains. Well, it's kind of silly that, you know, well, actually not silly that, you know, small characters can dodge a huge attack, but, well, it's actually nice when it happens. Okay, let's try Thunder again. Oh. Okay. Now there are those random moments when a mob can attack again, and I really don't want that to happen, so I'm gonna heal the character now. Okay. Now we have the bar full. Let's see if this skill actually does more damage. Alright, let's actually try something. Let's try ice again. Let's ice this thing. Double attack. 1 HP? Really now? 1 HP? Well, that's the embodiment of being a lucky MF. Alright, now I'm gonna bust one of these potions. First of all. Now I'm gonna heal. And I think I'm gonna actually use this to see, can we actually remove that effect? Oh, okay. Let me think. I think this character actually has a bit of an AI implemented, because it didn't seem to use double attack until its HP dropped to, I think, 30%, 33%, 25%. I think 33%. I don't know why, but I would go for that value. Okay, let's see attack. Oh wait, we actually have Heather. Let's charges attack for 1 turn. I didn't understand how this mechanic works. It just seems to do an animation, and I think the next damage will be better. So we'll stick with the regular attack. Okay, open wide. Ah well, it doesn't seem to react in a different way to different elements. One thing that I usually did when I created my champions is like mingle with all the possible variables. Okay, like if I'd create a monster, it's not that I would give it like probably many people would 10% fire resistance. No, mingle with all the variables possible. Okay, like all of those parameters that you have. So much juicy information in there. Many people aren't even making use of it. Okay, like throw in some 3 random immunities, 2 random weaknesses, or think of something specific. Okay, let's actually go for Adder and bust this creature's skull. Oh, okay, it has that third option. Oh, here I am thinking that it's glitched for a bit. Okay, so there is the end song. I think you can change the battle song. Oh, Aruna is level 6. So apparently her XP curve is more accentuated than the others. I'm sorry, my love. Don't tell me this kind of makes a bit of Undertale sense. Okay, so the characters actually moved. I think they moved one at a time. You can actually have 3 characters through the same event move at the same time. All you have to do is you put the movement commands. It can actually be lengthy ones. I've mingled with this. And only the last character's move command is set with wait. Okay, because you have to have a waiting sequence somewhere, else the game interpreter will simply execute all your functions as fast as possible until it reaches a wait function. So you can move all the 3 characters at the same time by having, I don't know, this Murk move first, second and third. If she happened to be the third, only her movement option is set as wait, and the first 2 characters or all the previous characters, they simply don't have to wait. I've mingled this with 8 different characters in a video of mine, a theater play, which I'm actually reworking it, and I'm also adding sounds to the characters somewhat. Hopefully they are correctly used, because Japanese is kind of quirky with its conjunctions and interjections. To commemorate Elise, Queen of Serpents. Okay, may your love live forever in the serpent's scales. Okay, what I would do here, because it's written on a plaque, okay, at least for this, I would change the background of this black, transparent black. I would make it brown. Okay, just for the laws, okay, or this gray, okay, and less transparent, because this looks like transparent. Wait, it's not transparent. It's the I think it's the middle option. if it were transparent, you wouldn't see this, and if it was the first option, the one on the top, you'd basically not see or barely see anything beyond the background of it. Alright, now there is another point. May your love live forever in the serpent's scales. Alright. Now the question is, serpents, is it plural? So, apostrophe here, or serpent if it's one, apostrophe in here. May your love live forever. I think I'll be thinking about it, how you can actually change it to be a bit more poetical. Love seems kind of awkward. People kind of misunderstand this word. Love is not something that comes from you. Love is something you connect to. Okay. If it is a queen, it's much better to say your grace. Okay, because grace includes a sense of love and includes a bit more. Includes beauty and includes several aspects of life. Okay, it makes things a bit more suave, a bit flowing when you say grace, okay, instead of love. Love seems, at least to me, it seems a bit flat. If you want this to be perfectly balanced, okay, it is kind of well centered, depending on the writing. That's basically not a problem. The comma, I don't think the comma would be needed for years. Now, I would suggest not using these, okay, because in my country, in Romania, the comma is basically the sign that you use, instead of the point, okay. In America, when you want to say, you say 1.6, okay. In Europe, you usually say 1,6, okay. You don't say 1.6, okay. You say 1,6. So using these can be confusing to people. Now, if you use AE and stuff like this, it's kind of understandable that you are kind of speaking about years, okay. When I present years, I usually don't put such signs in here, but what you can do, you can actually put a parenthesis or a square parenthesis, right, a bracket. It helps a bit more. Now, it kind of is logical because you have a name, you have a title, and then you have a year, which kind of shows the year of birth and the year of death, which kind of goes to show that the character has lived, 33 years? 33 is the master number, it's the master number of the teachers, if I call it correctly, right? 193 equals 4, 6 plus 3 equals 9, okay. 33 years, usually ascended masters leave the world at the age of 33, like for example Jesus and the Buddha, okay. I say the Buddha because Buddha is not a name, it's a title. It means the one who transcended the mind. There are a lot of Buddhas, okay, in the Hindu culture, okay. His name was Gautama the Buddha, okay, because that's just a title. Okay, so may your grace live forever or shine forever, or a synonym for live could be better, because live is kind of way too monotonous, okay. I could say reign forever, because when you say reign, R-E-I-G-N, right, to rule, let's say, it's kind of, it kind of shows a kingdom whose grace, okay, shall live forever, okay, shall reign together forever, right. Okay, in the serpent scales. Mirrored by the serpent scales, I really don't know exactly, okay, like in the serpent scales name, in the serpent scales image or something like that, or better said shine, okay, because shine has two functions, okay. Shine shows a light source, okay, and the light source can be the specific light source like the sun, or it can be a theoretical light source if it reflects off of something, and light can, depending on the fantasy creature, light may actually reflect off of the scales. So shine forever or live on, in the serpent scales, okay? I don't like using, you know, the monotonous words because I want my creations to always stand out from the, you know, the general, the typical, okay? The mainstream, okay? You can say, may your grace live on in the serpent scales, but the serpent scales something, okay? You don't want it to live in the serpent scales unless the statue was made out of scales, or these scales are actually highly important to the kingdom or something that, you know, represented this. Because you see, logically we have a statue of a woman, okay? I mean, well, judging by the dress, it has, you know, the statue has some breasts, you know, definitely a goddess, okay? She may have some horns, but I doubt these are horns. I think those are more like serpents, or I don't know, it could be. Now, I don't know why she has wings, winged serpents, I don't know. Probably wings show, you know, godhood at times. But the point is, logically speaking, the statue was erected by something, okay? It's not erected by itself, and it commemorates the Queen of Serpents. We don't know in the game who is the Queen of Serpents, but it's not important who the Queen of Serpents kind of is, okay? For some reason, she no longer is in this world, because usually statues are erected, you know, to commemorate things or people, events that have happened, okay? That have lived, okay? They have been outlived by time, okay? And these are just remembrances. So the Queen of Serpents, okay, who is or who are the peoples, okay, the nations, okay, or the species, the races commemorating the Queen of Serpents, okay? Whether the scales are important to that, well, we'll probably have to find out. So the legends were true. Elise was the girl who fell in love with the great serpent. We saw it on the statue outside. Ah, okay, so there was nothing told about that story, but now we get told something about it. Okay, let me actually check something. Okay, so it's actually still recording. How long ago was that? 62 years ago. Now, in terms of yogic sciences, okay, 62 years shows almost 2/3 of a regular human life, which is said to be 84 years, okay? He must have been here guarding this place for a long time. Alright, so the girl fell in love with a serpent, and the serpent kind of, you know, recognized her godhood, probably, or raised her to a rank of a goddess, in the sense that that's how important she was. She was probably already a goddess, or through a communion with the snake, most likely. Well, as we saw, he had some magic powers, okay, he was quite resilient, he had some abilities. It's still kind of a simple design, but, well, it still had some abilities and such. The point is, he had some sort of magic, okay, and the communion in between the two may have erected her to the status of a goddess, okay? Now, I don't want to say in a sexual sense, because, you know, many people might actually go that way, okay? But a relationship in between a character, a living being and another living being is already formed at the physical memory, okay? At the memory level of a body, okay? Of a physical body, even by touch. So when you touch someone, it doesn't matter whether you touch them, I don't know, on a, you know, let's say intimate region of the body or not, there is instantly a memory exchange. So there's already something happening, okay? And if you're a magical creature, you wouldn't want to mingle with any sort of non-magical being, because you're instantly gonna transfer some of your potential. Now, you're not losing it, okay? You're not losing your potential, but you don't want to you know, share your energy with others. If you're surrounded by, you know, vampiric people, those who just victimize, they always come to you to ask for help, and they don't give anything in return, you'll see that usually they will have this annoying habit of touching you, okay? It's like they're, you know, using you as a pillar. It's like they can't stay on their own 2 feet, and, you know, like they're accidentally touching you, usually on your shoulders. You know, there are a lot of these unconscious aspects, okay? So it's not that the two, you know, had sex or something like that, but something happened, and we still have to find out who erected the statue. The humongous serpent, those little serpents, right? Just because they are serpents and they don't have hands or arms like us, it doesn't mean that they cannot do things, okay? We have to ditch this way of thinking that we humans are the best race on this planet. Technically and realistically, yes, we are, thanks to our adaptability, okay? But it doesn't mean that we are the best, okay? So let's see. How has no one else come along or slain him? 62 years is a long time to go unnoticed. Okay. Well, this is a good quote if you think a bit. If you think a bit about the point that Muirk actually has, there are no skeletons in here, okay? There are no remains in here. And so there is kind of a contrast. Do people respect the snake, or, you know, are simply too afraid to actually get close? Because by what I've seen previously in the story, and it's kind of bad if the story starts conflicting itself, but I doubt this is the case here, people knew of this cave, okay? The cave is well known, and basically we don't have any skeletons, you know, any, you know, remains of the such. And he actually, now in this case, correctly asks, how has no one else come along or slain him? Come along, this doesn't work in here, because when you have come along, this come along means to join, okay? Now you can, you know, in a far-fetched way, you can join someone in a fight, okay, like but that kind of goes a bit in a, you know, like a friendly duel, or it can go in a, you know, duel to the death also. But it gives at least a bit sense of something organized, okay? Like you're expected in the arena, okay? Come along, okay? So join in the arena, okay? When you say come along, you come along your friends or some people to do something together, okay? You can say instead, how has no one else come by, okay? Because, or dropped by, or found this place, okay? Or slain him, okay? 62 years is a long time to go unnoticed, okay? Suspension marks, maybe? It could work. Question balloon, probably. It would fit the situation. No one really needed to go through the cave. Everyone used the bridge at Hidden Ridge Valley until it was destroyed a few days ago. Kind of not good here. So no one really needed to go through the cave, okay? We can actually have, you know, full stop in here, and then next sentence, everyone used the bridge at, this kind of doesn't go well, the bridge at, okay? You can say everyone, instead of used, you can use everyone would use, okay? It sounds a bit different when you use this would, okay? Everyone, this kind of sounds too generalized, okay? Usually this kind of shows a silly character, because only silly characters generalize, unless it is, you know, demonstrated fact, okay? But considering they don't have satellites, they don't have, you know, means of, you know, statistics, like no one is actually asked, have you gone through the bridge? Is there a third other possible way, a fourth other way, right? You can say people would use the bridge, okay? Because would doesn't imply generalization, okay? A big part, okay, a majority, okay, would use the bridge, okay, or would make use of the bridge that don't use this also, okay? Because to make use of, you make use of a gadget, okay? If you want to, you can also say everyone would usually cross the bridge, okay? But don't use bridge at, okay? Everyone used the Hidden Ridge Valley Bridge. You know, it sounds a bit better, okay? It sounds a bit better when you say something, when you put region and landmark of region afterwards, okay? Like the temple obelisk, okay? You don't say the obelisk of the temple or the obelisk at the temple, okay? You say the temple's obelisk or temple obelisk, okay? Say Hidden Ridge Valley Bridge or Hidden Ridge Valleys Bridge, you know, apostrophe S if you want to specifically show that it's the area's bridge, but that goes well only if there is only one bridge, okay? So you can say people would use the Hidden Ridge Valley Bridge, but people usually refers to humans, and we have, you know, catgull, which kind of doesn't sound like a human entirely, and we also have snakes. Probably there are other races, okay? So you could say instead Hidden Ridge Valley Bridge was most commonly used until it was destroyed a few days ago. I would say this sounds the most appropriate. Sure, there are other possible ways, but this is kind of how I would point it, okay? Hidden Ridge Valley Bridge was the most commonly used, okay? Or was the most commonly used route, if you want to add an extra word. Sweat. Oh well, I guess that makes sense then. I at least hope he can rest in peace with his love. Okay, so as I've been saying, yes, the love most likely is dead. I don't know about any plot twists though. I know. Oh, okay. Look, finally, as I've been saying, okay, when the character becomes, you know, introspective, right? They think for themselves. Yes, use an asterisk. Yes, italic writing. I usually make the writing small, or I change the color, or I make it speak as if the narrator actually speaks the character's words. I know too well how it feels to have the one you love taken from this life too soon. Alright. Okay. Suspension marks, maybe, because it's basically, you know, speaking to himself. This kind of sounds flat. This sounds a bit flat, kind of grinchy almost, if you say like that. You know, it's like, well, I killed it, who the fuck cares, let's move on. Something, that's kind of the vibe it gives. At least I hope he gets reunited, okay, with his love, okay, or the two get reunited. This would sound a bit more poetical, I would say. Alright. I hope so too, then they could be together again forever. I would make an inversion here to make it a bit deeper. I too hope so. It's a bit more accentuated when you say I too hope so. Okay. No co-mine here because I don't know, it doesn't make it's like you're saying two things at the same time in the same sentence. It sounds a bit silly. Like, you can here I would actually use a break, okay, or make two different text boxes if you don't like using breaks like I do. Well, I don't use breaks, I exploit them, like I overuse them. So I hope so too, or better said, I too hope so. Suspension marks, okay. Put 2 seconds of wait, I would say. Then they could be together again forever. Then they could be together forever. Or I would say then they could be reunited forever. Okay, together again. It's kind of the way most people would go, and again, I'm interested in sounding different than most others, okay? Not as a competition, but I just want to show people there is always so much more you can create through a sense of uniqueness, okay? Like, I love being poetical, okay? Because when you create a story, when you speak about the dead, at least a sense of respect you can show through being, you know, more poetical, okay? Like, sure, if your character is usually a dick, well, then go on and be a dick with the character, because you'd ruin them if they suddenly become poetical, okay? But well, we have 3 characters, so none of these characters sounds like that, okay? Okay, when you use interjections, again, I I would suggest a 1 second wait time. Okay, I would go directly and straight for 1.5 seconds. Okay, 1.5 seconds like sniff, 1.5 seconds wait, so romantic. And you want suspension marks in here because you know, if you have just a point, okay, it's kind of flat. Okay, you're not showing any emotion. The character, again, the smile looks a bit grinchy. Okay, so in this situation, the way this is shown, it kind of shows that she's flat. Okay, I mean emotionally flat. Okay, like yeah, so romantic is like, can we actually, you know, skip through the script and, you know, get back to the action or something like that. So suspension marks would go actually better in here. You could actually use a heart balloon. Don't forget to use more balloons, okay? Because there is no animation around, okay? And people who are simply, you know, simple, they would just skip through the text. They wouldn't mind any details. They, you know, just play the game because they want to play the game, okay? They're not interested in analyzing the deeper details, okay, the implications and any possible emotional triggers, okay, which I kind of feel this game is a bit lacking. But you know, people kind of don't have this sense of, you know, diving deeper into things that can trigger emotions well, because you know, society kind of makes us disconnected. Now, what I would do about this map, okay? What I usually do is all my maps, I never use the implicit, you know, the default BGM and or BGS functions of the map, okay? That's how most RPGs go, and I always prefer having at least one song, okay? So I would have it that when the player enters this map, okay, the first time, you have a parallel event somewhere, okay, that triggers this song, the particular one that's singing, okay? And that parallel event, a parallel event repeats 60 times per second unless you tell it to wait. That's why you use wait 60 frames, okay? That event, okay, parallel events have the highest priority. They always trigger even before auto-run events. So it would always be the first event that would trigger on this map. So its purpose is simple. You trigger this song that you can hear, and then you use erase event, okay? So the event starts this song, let's say wait 1 frame, okay, to make sure that, I don't know, it plays the song, and then it deletes itself, okay? So it no longer repeats in the background, you are just, you know, doing well. Okay. Now, you fight the boss. When you fight the boss, you have the default sound. Okay, one thing that people don't use is I would use a randomizer. Every time you enter a battle, okay, that randomizer would dictate, based on a certain chosen number, which soundtrack you would hear in your fight. Okay, that's something that I was interested in doing, but again, since I don't like the battle system, I'd rather create one my own, okay? And I'm actually gonna create a, well, it's not gonna be necessarily a battle system, but it will actually function similar to one in a theater play, where, you know, it starts as a visual novel, you know, things go on, and suddenly in the middle of the fight, the player actually has some control over the fight. So after that, okay, when the sound ends, okay, you are returned to this sound, which is kind of unfit for this, okay? You want some, you know, melancholical soundtrack here, okay? Because this sounds a bit mysterious, a bit, to a small extent, menacing, and you'd want to have an extra melancholy here, okay? You haven't killed a snake, okay? You've killed a big snake, which also seem to have emotions, okay? So you've killed a highly, you know, probably even empathic being, okay? So it's not just any other regular enemy, okay? So a sense of melancholy wouldn't hurt, okay? You want to have the character be plunged into your game. Okay, you want them to feel a bit about your game, a bit more. You want them to be integrated into your game. That's why I don't like using the default, because when you use that default, it will always trigger. Okay, you put your own BGM, and I don't remember if it actually bypasses that, but that's why I don't use it. Okay, I want my events, since I have very lengthy events, some of them might have even 7, 8, 9, 10 different BGMs in them. Okay, and there comes a certain moment, boom, the song is changed. Another moment, boom, the song is changed again. Okay, if you're interested, you can go to my channel and you can look for a theater club scene, theater club performance or something like that of my game. Go for the one that's 31 minutes long or something like that, and you'll see what I'm kind of talking about. I'm actually working at that specific event. I'm almost, like 90% through it to finish it, and I'm gonna post it again. This time with some sounds. I don't know how soon I will post it, because I have to go through it and see if the sounds actually go on. Probably it may take some extra time. Now, when you are asking someone, are you crying again, and you're using this sign kind of shows irritation. Okay, don't use this sign. Okay, this sign is good only for confusion or irritation. Okay, now again, it's not irritation necessarily because it's not caps lock. Now, I would have asked. I wouldn't have asked the character crying, okay? Because this sounds either a bit ironical, cynical, something like that. Because if this kind of reminds me of how simple-minded so many people can be. It reminds of the painful, silly movies, okay? Someone falls from, the fourth story. They broke almost all the bones. They're still alive, and people come to them and they ask them, "Are you all right?" No, it's like they just slammed the earth. They're almost dying, and you ask them, like, avoid asking things that are logical, okay? Because yes, the character has been emotionally moved, but when you ask, "Are you crying?" this again, coupled with this, kind of shows irritation, okay? Or a sense of grinchiness. And the character kind of looks, not lifeless, but looks as if emotions simply don't care, okay? Like when you look at this facial expression, it's like whatever, okay? It's like whatever, okay? You can ask without the again and without the exclamation mark, okay? Are you crying? You could say instead, this story seems to really have moved you, okay? Because you're making a polite remark. You're not asking them whether they are crying when it's almost, like logical they are crying. When you ask that, you're kind of being a dick, okay? You're kind of mocking their feelings, right? It's that moment in animes when the girl would probably slap you and they will call you baka, right? And then again, you definitely want to change the avatars, okay? Because she can't be crying and she's having a grinchy smile, okay? Only a little. It's just sad, but also so heartwarming. I wouldn't use heartwarming, because that's something that makes you feel really warm on the inside. It's making you feel really good, okay? You've just killed a big enemy. I don't know how that would be heartwarming, okay? I mean, ultimately you can think of the fact that, now your enemy is dead. They are finally reunited with, their so-called love. But I can't find that heartwarming, because basically, the blood of that enemy is still on your hands, okay? It would only be heartwarming, if you're kind of, A-lister, probably, or some yandere. But basically there is no such thing as heartwarming for these types of people anyways. Situation sad, you can say. Situation, apostrophe s, situation is said shortly. Situation sad. but thinking about it, it feels in a way heartwarming, I could say. I don't know, it's kind of needs a bit of change in a way. Or you can simply say only a little, okay? You can say I felt saddened by the story, but their being reunited feels heartwarming to me. Okay, you're making an explanation, and that's how you can actually say heartwarming. Okay, that's when you can actually use heartwarming. Yes, as I've been saying, the character is kind of, you know, cold-hearted in a way. Okay. Don't say pull yourself together unless it's specifically meant to. If you want to, you know, make the character feel better, soothe them a bit, don't use pull yourself together. It's kind of more like a command. Okay, let's get out of here. I don't know if the character wants to be worming, because this definitely doesn't sound warm. You could say let's pull ourselves together, okay? Because you don't want to be oppressive in a way. You don't want to force someone. You don't want to mock their feelings, okay? You don't want to bulldoze them, okay? Or you could say in a more pleasant way, that is, of course, if it suits the character, we should pull ourselves together and get out of here, okay? Or leave this place. Okay, when you say let's get out of here, this is more like a command. Again, the two girls are kind of sobbing. You don't want to say let's get out of here. It kind of, you know, it's a dick parent move, okay? You're kind of disregarding emotions, like let's get the fuck out of here, okay? Unless the character is specifically that kind, yes, stick to that. But if you want to be warming, you know, and somewhat cheerful, okay, you're not gonna change literally anything, because emotions take a long time to you know, pass, right? You can use something like that. And use two different sentences, okay? We should pull ourselves together and get out, or better said, leave this place, okay? Get out of here. Now, you usually say get out of here when you're cursing someone, when you're forcing someone, or when it's a when it's a great emergency. This situation doesn't seem like an emergency necessarily. There is no pressure, okay? We don't have any other pressure, okay? Any sign of any other enemies approaching, or the boss, you know, you kill them and you have a timer. If you don't leave in that timer, they will respawn stronger or something like that. And then it's full stop, okay? We still need to make it to Niair, and we spent too much time here already. We spent too much time here, again, sounds a bit punishing, or, well, the character seems a bit irritated. You can say instead, and we've already spent enough time here. Okay, we've already spent enough time here. Okay, we've spent too much time here already. If you want to say, if you put already here, then you show a bit of irritation, because the character looks a bit irritated. Okay, so you preserve it a bit. Okay, we spent too much time here already. Already is better if you put it in here, and we've already spent too much time here, or we've spent enough time here already. Okay, or we've already spent enough time. But wait, we've already spent too much time here, or we've spent enough time here already. That's how I would put the differences, okay? Great Serpent Hide, okay. Now I like that the, you know, so many designers, okay, when they create their games, it's a bit silly in a way that they make use of colors only for items, but they don't make use of the colors, you know, in the text boxes to show something different, like, you know, when someone is irritated, or I don't know, all sorts of different situations. Okay, can we actually live? Oh, we can actually live through here. Alright. Okay, this actually looks nice. Now, as a design aspect, this is a bit this is a bit wrong. Okay. First of all, I see that this is a cliff, yes, but usually cliffs aren't necessarily this regular. The use of this ground tile with this creates a very beautiful, contrast. Okay, this brown, you know, yes, kind of, light brown with this beautiful vegetation. You could actually add 1 or 2 trees in here, several, a bit more vegetation. Now, what I really like doing is having as much diversity as possible, because the game map looks way too flat. Okay, like basically you have around 7 different items in here. Okay, you have the path, which is 1. You have this sign, which is 2, and there's only 1. Okay, you have this, which is the same grass tile, right? 3. You have this 3. You have the rock, 5, and you have this, which is the 6th. Okay, and yes, this rock, which is the 7th. Okay, too little diversity, I would say. Oh yes, you also have this part. Okay, which is also here and here and here. Okay, and well, if someone actually minds seeing the details, you also have these 2 pillars in here. Now the point is, you would probably want to ditch the clouds in this part, because if you see the sky in here, I doubt you see these clouds and then you see the reflection of these clouds going by the sky. Okay, that's well, I can't call it silly. Okay, it actually looks nice. Okay, it actually looks nice, but I doubt you would see the reflection of clouds on the sky. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I don't know how these reflections are done. Basically, I think there are some images, okay, that go, probably a parallax that, well, not a parallax because that's behind the map, something like that, which is above the player, and it just moves by. I don't know if you're using something like this when you're using the map. I don't know. You can actually add this layer, okay, this specific part, above the clouds, but that won't have it look well, because it will look as if the clouds are appearing from below the sky. Basically, it's kind of good because you only see the shades on the ground. Okay, that's probably something no one thought about. And again, this is a bit another problem here. You've kind of bust yourself in the nuts in here, because you say, check it out, it's so pretty. Okay, it's great. Where is the heart balloon? Like, this character seems to be so emotional. Use more balloons on her, okay, because she seems to be the livelier one. I can see so much from up here. Well, this is kind of presupposed. Okay, what you can do instead, you can use another parallax. Okay, not this, definitely not a sky, not good, because of these clouds. Okay, and I'm sure you cannot ditch the skies on this part. What you can actually do is you can actually put a parallax that has a forest or something, because you're basically on a cliff, and when you're on a cliff, you're not looking at the sky. Okay, you are already looking from above, so there is no sky below, right? Okay, this is not 3D, this is not you're not watching from behind the character. Okay, this is not third person or first person shooter, so that you can see the sky at the edge of a cliff. I've seen this in many cases. Yes, it's kind of mainstream for many people, but my point is to simply break the mainstream. I'm interested in pulling people out from these dreams. Okay, you can put a parallax with, let's say, some forest, probably some ways, okay, and some city somewhere in the center, right? Because the girl is looking in the center. There can be some random town or something, or a big fortress, something with 1 or 2 ways leading to it. Probably some river, and the best thing about it, have it blurred. Okay, especially the town, it's gonna be the most blurred, okay? Uh, in a certain way, okay? Because when you look, in the furthest angle, okay, furthest away from you, right? The forest that might appear here and probably here, you can have it with trees like this and probably a bit of blur, okay? But that which is in the middle, okay, the focus, you can have it be the most blurred because there's the most details in there and you don't want to show them, right? It's a sequence that I personally call the striptease, okay, because it's just like when the woman does striptease, okay? When that happens, okay, it's all about the tease, right? It's not when you see her naked, it's all about imagining what you would see, right? It's all about the process. So this is a kind of a striptease because you're showing something in full detail, right? But it's blurred, okay? You're again not showing the details, okay? So you're having all those projects, all those things, thoughts in the player's mind, right? Just like the girl using a transparent bra. It's not showing the breasts, but again, it's all about imagining. Okay, so that's why I want to see it too. Yes, progressive. And then okay, they get distracted way too easily. I would break this into two different boxes. He has a sweat animation, yes, they get distracted way too easily, suspension marks. After he says that, show a heart on this character because she comes here and basically up till now it seems flat, like she just comes here and okay. Show some balloons, okay. Then you have another text box, I would say after 1.5 seconds. Although I suppose something like this would be new to them since they spend their whole lives or entire lives. Whole goes better with singular. Since they spend their entire lives or their whole lives, if you want, in on there. Okay. Now I don't know if they actually spent their lives in on there because if I remember correctly, the girl one of them wasn't from there. She came there. Do I remember correctly? Probably, I don't know. I'm not gonna fill my mind with so many details because, well, I don't want to be disrespectful, but after all, I'm more interested in what's now in the present. The problem is I haven't played the game, like consecutively. I've taken a great break, and I'd rather focus more on my own projects while providing some value to others also, okay? But it's their story, okay? It's not mine to fix. And who knows, maybe by now the story may have already been changed. I don't know. Okay, like, you never know, okay? I'm just playing an old version, okay, of it. Most likely it's been changed because it's a demo, so they're probably working to it right now. They spent, I can say most of their lives, or they spent so much time. It's best, okay? You can say they spent so much time in on there, okay? They spent so much time in on there, okay? You don't say their lives because I don't know exactly if they were born in there, okay? Or the story might actually change and you will forget probably this part, okay? It's easier to change the story than to change each and every quote that goes in a certain way, and then you have certain contrasts. Okay, so the character also comes. Also, now we can actually see some mountains. You could actually add a fence in here probably. I don't know exactly. I never knew it could be this amazing. Out here I can see the mountains and the river below us. Just on the other side of those mountains is the sea. Okay, so I'm guessing the story will go towards that. It kind of reminds me of the novel in a way, because the characters have to go through a huge mountain with freezing winters and the dwarven realm, okay, to get to the sea and leave the country, okay, which is besieged by some great beasts, okay, and by the dwarves themselves that happen to come at the same time. How do you know the ocean is over there? That's easy. In the Onder northern plains, there's a pass that leads to the coast by the sea. It's pretty nice, and we should visit sometime if the monsters ever clear out. Let's see. That's easy. You could use an exclamation mark. Probably here another one of those breaks. Or if you don't like using breaks, it kind of gets tedious to use so many of those, but I don't mind it. You can use multiple text boxes. In the Onder northern plains, okay, there's a path that leads to the coast by the sea. This is kind of pleonastic, because when you say coast, it's always by a sea, okay? Unless it's by an ocean, but, well, an ocean or a sea, technically it's still a vast amount of water, okay? And, like, I don't know, it kind of sounds a bit awkward that a certain region is surrounded by, you know, is close to an ocean and to a sea, okay? It's either a sea or an ocean, okay? Unless it's, I don't know, an internal sea, like the Black Sea, for example, in between Europe and Asia, or, you know, Mediterranean one, and then you have the ocean. Yes, like when you say about the Gibraltar area, okay? But one is on a side, and, you know, the ocean, you know, the other one is on the other side, right? So coast always shows sea, okay? In the Onder northern plains, there's a pass that leads to the coast. Okay, it's enough. You don't need to say by the sea. This again doesn't go well. It's pretty nice. You don't know this because the characters haven't been there. Okay, so you could say instead, I heard it's pretty nice, because you can't affirm something you haven't experienced, right? You can't say the moon is nice because you haven't seen it. Okay, yes, it might look nice on the sky, but you don't know, you don't want to sound as if you've already been there, but you haven't. Okay, so another text box would be, I heard it's pretty nice, full stop. Okay, then another text box, we could visit it sometime. Okay, not should or could, you decide on that. Okay, should sounds a bit more like I really want to. Okay, could is way more casual. Okay, we simply could do that. Okay, I'm not dying after it. Okay, it's not an urge, it's not something I definitely want. If it doesn't happen, I'm not gonna die. Okay, I'm not gonna suffer. Okay, we could visit it. Okay, English always wants the complement. Okay, the complement is mandatory. Or we could pay it a visit. We could go by there. We could, well, drop by. Kind of. No, that doesn't sound too well, because you usually drop by someone's house. But you can actually say should. We should visit sometime if the monsters ever clear out. You could say this part, definitely I would put it in a different text box and sound something like, I heard it's pretty nice, but it's also crawling with monsters. Okay, or something like that. We should visit it sometime if the monsters ever clear out, or are ever cleared out, or whatever you want to mean with this. Okay, because monsters usually don't have a sense of clearing out a certain region anyways. Usually you clear them out, or someone clears them out. Okay, I figured you would have known that, but I guess we haven't really done much other than adventuring. It's nice that the character actually turns towards the character speaking. Figured you would have known that. Not figured, okay? I thought, okay? Because when you figure something, you realize it, okay? Some people might use this, I figured. I don't know, in my case it doesn't sound too good. Because when I say I figured, you know, it kind of sounds like I figured something out, okay? I would always go for I thought you would have known that, or I had an impression you would have known that. You would have known that kind of sounds like an expectation too long in the past, because it's, you know, Preteritum, or whatever it's called in English. So I thought you knew that already. That's how I would put it, okay? But I guess we haven't really done much other than adventuring. Okay. I'm a bit fuzzy about the mixture of tenses because you have past perfect, and then you have, you know, present perfect. But at least it's not and, okay? When you have and, you definitely use the same times, okay? You use past, okay? Past and past, or past perfect, okay? You don't use past and then present or something like that. It'll be fine, we can go visit it one of these days. For now, we need to get to Nair. It'll be fine. I don't know what's gonna be fine. What's gonna be fine? You know, when you say it, this it specifically ties itself to the, you know, latest presented topic, which in this case is the fact that, you know, they should visit the seaside, okay? It'll be fine. I don't know, it sounds a bit too short, okay? We can say we can go visit the coast, okay, or the area, the coast. Don't use it because it's too confusing, okay? It can be, not always, it can be confusing. We can and visit. It's an area with monsters, okay, and you're having a presumption that those monsters will clear out. As I've said, monsters don't have a habit of clearing their own environment, okay? Because monsters are like animals, okay? They find an environment, it becomes their comfort zone. Unless something bad happens or something, you know, shakes that region, they're not gonna get away, okay? You can say we can pay it a visit. We can go there. We can go there. I don't know if we could use one of these days, okay? Because those mountains definitely look like very far away. And usually a mountain you don't cross in 1 or 2 days, okay? These days usually sounds like either these days, like speaking about the present, or if you say one of these days, no. You can say we can go there, or we can say I'm sure we will reach there, or we will get there anytime soon, or I'm sure we won't get there anytime soon, but we could visit it anytime later, okay? Or you could say I'm not sure whether we will get there anytime soon because they have a greater responsibility or greater importance, but it could be a future plan, right? So you can either arrange this as, you know, subtle understanding for the player that one day they would actually reach there, right? It's like a hint, right? We will get there one day, okay? Hopefully, let's say hopefully, when these emergencies or when these things we have to do are done, okay? This can also sound a bit rhetorical because, you know, some heroes usually have so many things to do, and this remains like a, you know, pure dreaming, okay? They kind of know they will never reach there, but, you know, it's a little bit of dreaming. We should be close. According to the map, it's southwest from here and not too far either. What? It again. Nair. Use the names much better instead of, you know, confusing words. Now, according to the map, when you say the map, put a sound, you know, book 2 sound, I think, you know, or page, you know, a page sound. I think it's book 2. That's how the sound is named. The sound which I also use, and well, I have 100 plugins of sounds, you know, tile sets and such, so I have a lot of things to pick from. But if you're only using core game assets, I think it's book 2. Okay, so according to the map, it's southwest from here, and also not too far away, and also not too far, without the either. Okay, because either has a big tendency towards something either that or that, okay, one of the two. So it's southwest from here and not too far away. Okay, and not too far away, okay? I wouldn't mingle with either unless I'm speaking about its specific usage, okay? It's either here or here, okay? Yes, I know I've also heard it's not too far either, but I would say it's also not too far, okay? Because you're not saying either this or that, you're accentuating something, so, and plus also, you know, make this accentuated idea, you know, they have a highlight, okay? It's even stronger, okay? Southwest it is then. Oh, okay. Plot twist. Marquise, okay. Hold on, Commander. Wait. Hold on, Commander. Never point. Okay, never point. Exclamation mark. Or in this situation, I feel it's much better that you have suspension marks. Okay. First point. The map looks way too cheerful. Okay. These houses, yes, they are burning, but the vegetation around is, you know, I doubt the house is burning and the vegetation here is definitely not scorched. Okay? Really now. Okay? What you could do is you can take this tile, duplicate it, add it in some, I don't know, GIMP or editing software like that, and you make it a very, you know, darker color, right? You tint it darker, and you know the house is surrounded by you know, I would say 2 tiles of that, okay? Because you also scorch the vegetation around. It's such a cool you know, graphics addition, okay? And this trick would go well if it would be leafless, okay? The song is actually nice. What I would also use, I would edit this part also, okay? So the house is burning. I doubt it would have any vegetation at the windows. How I would edit it, I would take this tile with the window and simply delete the window, okay? I would only leave this part, okay? To give the impression that, you know, the house was actually broken into. Something is broken at it, okay? It's not just 2 bits of you know, wood burning, okay? But everything else is alright, okay? Also, I would delete the door, okay? I doubt the door would be intact, okay? And just inviting you in again, okay, after it's been ravaged, okay? Now, there is also a tile, I think it's also in the outside tile set, that, you know, shows something broken. Use it on the roof, on the wood, as much as possible, because you want the stone, you want the wood to look crumpled, okay? You want it to be broken because the house looks too good, okay? What's done here is just some simple editing. It's a house that looks nice, and then there are some little fires over them, okay? And the people that are down here, you know, it looks like this village or whatever took kind of a beating, okay? What I would also do, I would tint the screen a bit dark, okay? Tint screen a bit shadier, okay? I would go full grayscale, okay? I would actually go full grayscale, but also keeping, you know, it light, okay? Because I don't want it to sound as if it's taking place specifically in the, you know, in the dead of the night, okay? To sound poetical. Now, when a city is burnt, okay, I would add several other soldiers in here, because I doubt the commander would be alone. Okay, I doubt the commander would ever be alone, because when you're doing crimes, you're always with more people together. Now, this bridge is well concealed by the avatar and the text box, but again, what I can see at the bridge is it has no feet. Okay, it doesn't look like having any feet, and this is basically the tile set for a what it's called, oh yes, for a fence. Okay, I would also add a fence at the bridge, but this actually requires a bit of editing. And how you add the fence to the bridge on the inner side is you have to put it as B, C, D or E tile, and you place it above the player. Okay, and you put it in here, and the player can't step over it because it's the water. And if you put it here, the player will move below it, but still the player is moving on the bridge. These kind of look a bit far away from the bridge, but again, it doesn't matter that much. But still, a bridge kind of needs the feet. Now, another detail, this part here, this shade here, the shade, when you put it, it's always a quarter of a tile. Okay, so a tile is in this tile. Okay, you definitely don't want this half of the tile to be shaded. Okay, and you've kind of put the shade, I think it's put wrongly, I don't see it well because of here. Okay, because where is the sun shining from? Okay, you have some shade here below, okay, which is below the bridge. You would want to use half of it, okay, because the way you use it here, it looks as if the sun is shining from this direction, but the shade on the house shows that it's shining from this direction. These also show that it's shining from this direction. Okay, so mind your shadows. I'm actually mingling with shadows on a big map, so I'm kind of learning how to do that. Now you would want your shades. Okay, usually the sun shines from below. Okay, so when you arrange your shade, okay, you also put a bit of shade behind the house. Okay, because the shade is not on the side of the house. Rarely it's on the side of the house, it's usually behind the house. And you add some shade in here because the shade also is behind the bridge. Now you choose where the sun shines from, and where the sun shines from, you're easily gonna make this shade. You have to put it where it should be. If you tint the screen and you make it black scale, grayscale or black, slightly black, okay, not full black, okay, not middle of the night. If you want it to sound like middle of the night, it will also grayscale your fires, which won't look well. So also the point is you don't have shades in the night unless the sky is, brightly lit by the moon. Okay. Okay. What for, Marquis? I must kill them. What for? What do you want, maybe? I kind of like the facial aspect. Okay. What for, Marquis? A coma, maybe? Or your inquiry, Marquis? Can, use something different. Okay. I must kill them. Okay. Is this suspension marks or exclamation mark? This must kind of rarely sounds rhetorical. You might be commander of the third, but we can't cross the river. Not yet, at least. The humans on the western side of the continent have allied with beast tribes and the vampire. Humans and the vampire, okay. That's an interesting point that you rarely see. And the western side of the continent have allied, usually it's allied themselves with, okay. We can say have formed allegiance with beast tribes, some beast tribes, because if you say with beast tribes it sounds a bit confusing and awkward. With the beast tribes, in case all of the beast tribes have created an allegiance. Some beast tribes, okay, you also give the player a hint, so you're giving them a, a hint, a point, okay, in you know, the politics of the world, and a vampire, okay. Well, if you write vampire with a Y, usually this is the older English, okay, which kind of sounds well, it kind of sounds good with this. But there's something awkward a bit. The humans on the western side of the continent, we can't cross the river. Is this river actually splitting the continent in two? Because I doubt it would be this wide, okay? It's probably gonna be wider, theoretically, but it's okay like that, okay? What I would do is I would take these tiles, okay? And I would make them, you know, I would tint them darker, okay, because this looks like a river that is not too shallow, okay, it looks as if it can easily be crossed. You might be commander of the 3rd battalion, 3rd something, okay, but we can't cross the river. No, we mustn't cross the river yet, okay. We can't cross, yes, you can say we can't cross the river. Full stop, not yet, at least, suspension marks here, okay. Then another text box. The humans on the western side of the continent have made an allegiance, okay, with the beast tribes, or some of the beast tribes, and the vampire. They're too organized at the moment, so we will have to sow the seeds of chaos into their alliance first. Okay, now that sounds intriguing. Only then will conquering the entire continent be possible. Only then can we carry on with conquering the entire continent. You can sound it like this also. So I don't know how it is written, how it is spelled. You can also seeds of chaos. Chaos sounds a bit kind of generic. Descent, I think. D-I-S-E-N-T. I think it's double S. Okay, into their alliance first. Into their alliance ranks, probably. Okay. Or we can sow the seeds of chaos amidst their alliance. It sounds good. Ugh, coma, so boring. It could actually go with you know, a break. That's just how it is. You don't want Lady Ashelia to be pissed for not following her instructions. Nope. You don't want Lady Ashelia to be pissed at your not following her instructions, okay? Because you want to make it a clear warning, okay? You're right, she would kill me if I went against her instructions, okay? Or if you want to make the character a bit more conscious of their thinking and their situation, she would kill me if I failed to meet her expectations, or if I failed to follow her instructions. Exactly, now we hold everything on this side of the continent, she will be most pleased. Now we hold everything on this side of the continent for now. She will most likely be pleased, or she will be pleased. She will be pleased for now. Most pleased for now. Okay, you want to have some emotional pressure on the enemy because it is for now. Okay, there is waiting. Okay, there is waiting. Okay, there is the grinding wait. Okay. Okay, the passing is a bit too quick. In the previous scene, you can actually have the player wait for 2 more seconds before they are transported back in here. Okay, so which way is the southwest? Hidden Ridge Valley. Okay, so this sounds like a bridge. Ah, okay, we've actually reached the other side. I'm still curious as to how they managed to disallow that. You know, the movement of the dashing when you click on the map. Now I doubt a bridge would stay suspended like this, okay, without any feet, okay, and without any cords keeping it, okay. It's, you know, it's a bit awkward design. Okay, so basically the only choice is, you know, left we go. I wanted to see if we go the other left, what things would happen like. Oh, okay, so you can actually... I would advise against this point, okay? If the event would trigger the player, you don't want the player to go to the next map while they're facing up, okay? So have the event only trigger when the player is facing the corresponding direction, okay? So I think I've had enough for now. It's not that the game is bad, it's actually very good. I kind of liked it, and I also like the fact that there's so much I can actually give to it. But first of all, a save game would definitely be advisable, because I ain't saved in a while, and a power failure or something like that would definitely ruin my experience. So enough of the fifth part. Definitely there's some more experience going on. I'm actually happy I'm not forced to fight a lot of mobs, because if I'm gonna bump into games that have me fight a lot of mobs and I barely have any skills and I have to do the same thing, I think I'm, you know, like, I'm gonna quit after the third or fourth battle, because I'm interested in intricacy, okay? Simple stuff, simple games, simple design, literally this is everywhere. You find it even in AA games, okay? So I don't have any expectation from small games like this, okay? But in AA games it's really painful when you know, people create stealth games and the AI is so dumb even for an AA game where you have all the people in the world, you have all the experts that you can call, or theoretically you have them, and what they can come up with is, you know, some blind AI that simply moves around and you throw a stone and it's like, oh my god, a sound, and they just go there and you just dispose of them too easily. What's the point of the stealth game, okay? Why am I stealth? Okay, where's the stealth part if I can simply distract folks and simply exploit the AI in that way? Basically you've beaten the game from its womb, right? So I can't have expectations from small games like this, especially when it comes to the fact that usually such game projects are, you know, made by 2 or 3 people. Usually you have a designer, probably a lead designer, you know, and you have the person who codes the stuff if you have any need for coding, if you want to do stuff beyond what the program can give you, you know, with the regular command lines. And well, that's kind of basically it. You don't necessarily need much. Probably you will need a third person, you know, for anything else. They will donate some of the stuff, they will come with some ideas, or they will just be the overall tester. They don't take much part in the design of the game, or probably they bring some ideas, but you know, the other persons design the game, they're just, you know, the dedicated tester. Usually it's not bad if you also do that. If you have that, okay? Because if you don't have the dedicated tester, well, then you kind of have to find them, and you don't know how reliable some of the testers would be. Now, what I see here in the terms of design is this cliff here is 2 tiles wide, and it's only 1 tile wide in here, so a tile in here would be probably, you know, an abrupt edge, okay, in here. So I don't know how the design is made, but you know, pay some attention to the details, okay? It's not something bad, but you know, it gives the impression that this ledge here isn't fully supporting itself against, you know, this part in here, okay? It goes 1 tile further, so probably the wall may be, you know, something like this. It comes like this, this, and this, okay? Because this part here will basically go 1 tile upwards, okay? It will go 1 tile upwards because this is 2 tiles tall, okay? If you take it like this, it's 1, 2, 3, okay? So basically this one definitely comes in here so that you have 1, 2 tiles, okay? So yes, I'm actually proud I can see so many details. So I think it's enough for now. All this being said, you're loved and appreciated. Keep up the good work. Take care. I'm looking forward to seeing what further progress there is in the game. Take care. Ferinjan Board signing out.